I'm so scared. I don't know what his team's gonna be. Is it gonna be the same? Huh? What the f is that? Oh my god. Dude, what is that? It's level 80! What is this? Why am I getting text? What is going on? A strange feeling washes over you. It feels as though space nearby is warping slightly. Proceed with caution. What the fuck? What the fuck have I just walked into? Oh my fucking god, nope. Fuck no. What the fuck is that? Dude, no, man. There's no way. What was that? What the fuck was that? That's why he's not up there. I was just talking and thinking about him. I knew he had to be here. What the fuck is that? What is that and why is that there? I have so many questions right now. I feel like my head's going to explode. I mean, it did just say that space was warping around me and proceed with caution. What the fuck? Oh, I'm not ready for this. I'm so not ready for this. Let me put Roxy up. He's definitely going to battle me. I'm leading with Cosmos and Roxy. In case he leads with SUICUNE, I want my grass type there. And Roxy is obviously really good for SUICUNE as well. Perfect, in fact. Oh, dude, this is... Well, guys, I don't know what I'm about to get myself in for. That is just about the most terrifying thing I've accidentally walked in on in my entire life. The only choice is to delve in and find out, right? Fuck around and find out. I guess this... Fuck Fortin, bro. Fuck a Fortin. I'm interested in speaking to Fortin because it's Candace's brother, but fuck all of that. We got bigger fish to fry. This is going to be what the episode is focused on. Fortin, whatever, that's going to have to come next time. I need to do this. Oh my god, man. I have my potions. I have no choice but just to lock in and do this now. We are entering. Oh my god, bro. I can't believe this. I would never in a million years have expected what the fuck was about to greet me through this door. The music too, man. The music is amazing. And it just hit me. I've realized it this time. I didn't at first with Erica. It's raining. Oh my god, it's raining for a SUICUNE. Oh, dude, what the fuck? I have a bad feeling. I have a really bad feeling in my stomach about this. Dude. Oh, look at him, man. Okay, like I'm just saying, bro. Is this not... I don't even know what's going on right now. I don't know what's going on. But is this not so fucking cool and so much fucking cooler than, like, you seen observing SUICUNE all game before then just going, oh, you caught SUICUNE, okay, cool. No, this is what I want, bro. Oh my god, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm blown away. I've been blown away since starting Kanto. I forgot to mention this, but before last episode, I was told, when I was saying about how crazy everything is, I was told things are just going to get even crazier. And I was like, how? I understand now. Things are getting even crazier. Well, the aura right now coming off of Yucine is insane, but I fear I have no choice but just to lock myself in. I have my potions, like I said. I'm ready. I'm just a bit scared. I just don't want to trigger anything. I told the SUICUNE. SUICUNE is giving a piercing stare. Oh man. I've changed to leading with Roxy because I want to lead with Roxy in this situation. Still got Cosmos too. They were always going to be out together, assuming there's a battle, which, let's be honest, there will be. Cosmos will still be out just in the second slot. I just wanted Roxy with me for this. Let's see what has to be said because I have a lot of questions right now. I mean, I just walked through that door and I've entered this. So to say I have a lot of questions is an understatement. And I'm sure we're about to get a lot of talking about different varying stuff. And this, guys, this is probably going to be the climax of all of this SUICUNE stuff, which has been building up all game, all of this Yucine stuff, ever since Ekritique, all the way back in Ekritique. That was like episode 7 or something. Now we're finally here, about to face down in a final showdown against Yucine. This is so cool. Let's go. It's finally time, Ame. Oh my god, it is. I did tell you from the beginning that things would go this way. He did. To be fair, he did talk his shit from the beginning. I gotta respect that. He said from day one it's going to be him, not me. And he was right. I was naive in my approach for a long time. Pokemon are far more intelligent and emotionally in tune than most give them credit for. Now, I imagine that's probably true. And the reason I say that is because, of course, the closest equivalent we have in real life is animals, and that goes for animals too. There are a lot of animals out there that are a lot more intelligent and emotionally intelligent than people really give true credit for, I feel like. I mean, a good example is pigs, just throwing that one out there. They're actually very, very intelligent creatures. They don't get that credit. Of course, there are also like, you know, highly intelligent creatures like elephants, dolphins, whatever else, which, you know, are also super intelligent but do get a lot more of their credit. But even still, we tend to undervalue these creatures despite the fact that they are also, you know, they're living beings and they have their own intelligence and emotional depth and stuff too. People just don't like to perceive it, unfortunately, because they're not human. I imagine it probably is the same with Pokemon too, if not even more extreme with Pokemon. Despite my genuine belief in the fact that I was to become the partner of SUICUNE, I let my anxiety and bitter nature take over. I was mad that SUICUNE was also watching over you despite everything, and I allowed myself to slip into the anxious thoughts of whether SUICUNE could be swayed by you. I see, I think I get it. So he's saying he wanted to always be confident, you know? He wanted to be confident, he had it in his mind. I will be the one to partner with SUICUNE. It's in my blood, my ancestors, we've all partnered with SUICUNE. Well, not all, but some of them have. I want to be the next partner with SUICUNE. I have confidence that it will be me. But over time, because of SUICUNE watching me, he had inadvertently, probably subconsciously, started to allow more anxiety and bitterness to swell up about, you know, why SUICUNE watching someone else? I thought it was going to be me. Wait, what if after all of this SUICUNE does go for someone else? You know what I mean? Those kinds of thoughts. And as he started with, these Pokemon, especially I would imagine something as powerful as SUICUNE, is very emotionally in tune, can sort of measure these things, you know, to a degree. And so it was probably inadvertently becoming like an off-putting thing to SUICUNE for him to be the way he was. And so he had to like lock in, you know? In doing so, I was unknowingly pushing away SUICUNE as it would not align with such a person. There it is. Okay, confirmation. So SUICUNE wants a certain type of partner to align with, and by being that sort of bitter person that he was becoming, it wouldn't align with SUICUNE to be with someone like that, and he recognized that. And that's what he was ominously talking about as we were reaching sort of the Kanto part, where he was saying he was starting to understand, you know, what he was lacking or what he needed to do. I've cleared away all self-doubt. My head has never been clearer. My mind resonates in much the same way as the tranquil waters touched by SUICUNE. Poetic. Achieving this state has given myself the worth to be here. That's kind of a hard quote, but it does make sense. He's had to better himself. He's had to achieve his current state to attain the worth needed to stand by a legendary Pokemon. Because really, you know, it should take a lot to align with a legendary. For example, for me, I went through all of those crazy gyms and even took down Team Rocket, Archer, whatever, before I even had the notion of Cresselia or a legendary choosing me. And it should be a lot that you have to go through as a person to prove your worth to, you know, being on that level. Think of the changes that Silver had to go through to align with Mew. You know, like he's changed so much from the beginning of when I first met him to when I last saw him. So it does make a lot of sense. But I'm not alone. You too managed to sway the attention of SUICUNE. It also watched over you for a long time. That's true. It wasn't the negative feelings which I held, but instead a lack of honesty with myself about my feelings. I see. Oh, okay. So it was less the fact that he was a bitter person, or less the fact that he had negative feelings, which I guess is fine because everyone has negative feelings to a degree, right? If you are someone who tries to only be positive and preach only to ever be positive, feel positive 24/7, that is genuinely how you get into the realm of toxic positivity, because there are certain things in life which aren't positive and you will not always feel positive. So what he's saying is, it's not that he felt these negative feelings sometimes, it's that he wasn't being honest with himself about his feelings, and SUICUNE doesn't want to be with someone who's not honest with themselves. Okay, I see that and I like that. I've come to understand that I don't like you. Okay, immediately after I just get shit on. But at the same time, I'm not really being shit on. Instead, being honest. And that's what we're talking about here. He's come to understand that he can drop, you know, the false platitudes. He just doesn't like me. I'm a rival in his main goal, and he doesn't like me. And that's fine. If anything, he shouldn't like me. I was the biggest contender with stopping his overall goal. It makes sense that he doesn't like me, but SUICUNE didn't like that he wasn't being honest about it with himself and just admitting, okay, yeah, I just don't like you. Okay, I get it. It's just crazy because, I mean, I'm starting to meet a lot of people that don't like me now, but at the same time, that's fair because that's how it goes. In life, that's how it goes. Not everyone's going to like you, I can tell you that. I was so worried that such negative feelings would push SUICUNE away, I failed to realize that it was just a lack of transparency. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about the fact that he wasn't being transparent about things. I thought it to be unfair to cast judgment like that over this, but I was wrong. You are the sole person who is potentially on track to take away my dream. That's pretty much bar for bar what I just said. It makes sense that he wouldn't like me. I literally, even if it wasn't my fault, even though it wasn't my intention, I was potentially on track at some point to ruin things for him. So why can't he dislike me? Intentional or not, this is just the way I feel about it. In the same way, if you resent me, I understand that. Also fair, he's also being fair here. And, you know, just saying, you know, if I resent him too, then he can understand that now. Now he's being honest with himself about things. He also kind of gets the fact that if I don't like him, especially after what he's saying, it makes sense. But the thing is, I don't even dislike him. I actually like A, the fact he doesn't like me, and B, the fact he's now being honest about it, because he's just being real. It's not like he dislikes me on some sort of fundamental personal level. It's just I could have fucked things up for him, so he didn't like me, and I think it's valid. You can get into all sorts of, oh, you know, you should be this way to someone you're rivals with, and I get that. But at the same time, when it comes to something like this, he is at least being honest about his feelings, and I can respect that. But alas, I've achieved my dream. There are still things I could want to achieve, but anything would be a bonus to me now. That is true. He has gone ahead against all odds, and he has fully achieved his dream. I mean, here he is with SUICUNE. He went ahead and he did it. I realized by your confusion that I've yet to explain or address the biggest matter yet. You must be confused on where we are. Okay, thank you. For a minute there, I was like, okay, you know, I like this intro we're having, and, you know, I like the direction we're going, but what the fuck is going on here exactly? Thank you for, you know, addressing this now. From your perspective, you were simply entering into a house, and yet here you are. Well, there is a lot to explain here, but we have time, no? Yeah, I mean, I'm not super strict on time right now. Go ahead. Yap away, bro. I want to know all the facts. I want to know where the fuck we are and why we're here. You know what? I love getting info in this game. Whatever you want to tell me, you go ahead and you say it, bro. Say your shit. Not that I would simply allow you to walk away now. Okay, that's probably true also. It's a bit late for that. So, let's talk. As we speak, we are currently inside the domain of the legendary SUICUNE. So, okay. Whoa, okay. So when... Oh, okay. He said this. When we were down by Fuchsia, he said about the domain of SUICUNE. Right? I think. And this, he was actually talking about this and being more specific. I thought when he said that, he just meant by domain, like the area that it typically resides in. He means like this. Okay, let's see what he has to say. I don't want to jump to any assumptions. Let me just see what he has to say first. This is something beyond our understanding. From what research has been conducted on this, our current theory suggests that this is something which dates back to the earliest parts of existence. Jesus. After Arceus had created what we know as everything, the first Pokemon to be born into existence were the legendary Pokemon, which hold true power over this world. That's true. Based on actual Pokemon lore, Arceus created everything, and I think the first things to be created were other legendary Pokemon, and then they obviously hold dominion over different areas and different things. They may choose to align or partner with strong trainers throughout history, but do not allow that fact to make you ignorant. These Pokemon do so by choice, and they are the ones which truly maintain the power in our world. That's true. That is very true. It's conceited to think that we are, you know, we would be on par with something like that. People in this universe would, you know, do everything, give anything to be partners with a legendary Pokemon. Legendary Pokemon don't have to do that. They do all that by choice. They don't even have to if they didn't want to. These Pokemon were born with the innate ability to create their own spaces. Again, this is something mostly beyond our comprehension. The legendary Pokemon in this universe can create literally like their own space. I guess like their own small bubble of space. Let's see. Okay, again, let me see, because he's obviously explaining right now. But these spaces are something which appear to exist in a sort of liminal space. Here, but as if they're in a different dimension itself. This space is known as a domain of the legendary Pokemon, and the way each domain looks and is formed is individual to each specific legendary Pokemon. It is a reflection of their powers and their mind. Okay, I'm starting to get it a bit more now. So every legendary Pokemon can cast this sort of domain around a certain area, right? And this is something, I guess, unique to legendaries, that they were birthed into existence with this ability. As you said, it dates back to the times of Arceus and stuff. So basically, this is like an innate power that they've had since the beginning of time. Literally, since the beginning of time itself. And seems to be, as far as I can understand, like projecting their mind outwards to create a space around them within space, but not really within this dimension. It's like entering a small pocket dimension, and it's projecting their mind, kind of, in a way. So it's like, for example, this is why Suicune's domain is the way it is, full of water, it's raining, it's very watery, because it's a projection of Suicune's mind. So it's going to look like this. It's kind of like, if you imagine it in the same way as in Demon Slayer in the movie, or just that part of the series, when they go like inside their minds, and you know, like Tanjiro's is this big open expanse of calm, tranquil water because he's meant to be pure or whatever, like pure of heart, pure of mind. It's kind of like that. It's like if you went inside Suicune's mind, it would be like this, and it's expanded outwards, and they can create this space around themselves and have this little pocket dimension of sorts that they can surround themselves with. And this is Suicune's one. So, I mean, I guess we'll find out in a minute. I don't know if I've invaded it. I don't know if I've been invited in. I would imagine invited in. I don't know. But we've managed to step inside the domain of Suicune. So people can enter it. And I would hope leave, because I want to leave after this. God, that's fucking cool. So, yeah, any Pokemon technically can do it. I don't, you know, maybe he's going to explain more. Maybe there's certain conditions and other things to it. But from what I understand, that's it so far, which is actually really fucking cool. And the fact that we're actually inside one right now and get to see it, this is fucking cool, man. It really is. Okay, so something I feel like I should mention. I was not going to bother, but then I realized I probably should. I went to go and get a drink because obviously I've been doing a lot of reading in this episode. And when I came back, turns out my game had crashed. I don't know why. I'm always saving quite often to try and prevent this, but for whatever reason, I don't think I'd saved a single time in this episode. So I've had to very quickly play back through everything we've done this episode and get back to here. I am here, and the reason I feel like I should mention it is because I've got my levels back exactly how they were. Roxy 70, everyone else 69. But obviously I realized there may be some small discrepancies in terms of experience, in terms of items. I don't know. I would have to really dig through my recording to, you know, get all the specifics. So I just figured, you know what? The items and stuff, it doesn't matter that much. So I'm just mentioning this real quick so that it doesn't look weird if there's any small differences. I've done the best I could to get back exactly how I was, and I'm finally back now. Just wanted to point it out in case anything looks weird. That's the reason, but I've done the best that I can. Anyway, moving on, because Lord knows I want to, after having to play through all of that again. This domain is a reflection of Suicune. Domains of the legends can only be entered by those who are allowed to by the legendary Pokemon. Okay, so I think I did bring this up briefly before. So it's not a case of me intruding upon Suicune here. That's probably not possible. I imagine if these are dimensions that are a reflection of their mind, they're like expanding this pocket dimension around themselves. I would imagine the only people who have access to it are, of course, the legendary itself and anyone who it would grant access to. Because we went to walk in here and then we entered it. And that's purposeful, of course. We now know that for sure. But you would imagine that that's a purposeful thing. It's not like any random motherfucker who walked through a certain area would then enter, because that's way too dangerous and impractical. So yeah, as you're saying, it's to whoever is basically allowed entry. Whoever Suicune wants to allow entry to can gain entry, essentially. Because you gotta think, right? There's many different possibilities, technically, of what it could be. Because it could be that, but it also could have been something like Beatrice's doors in ReZero. Now, to dumb that down, if you don't know what I'm talking about because you haven't watched it, basically just that, like, there's so many different doors in this massive mansion. One of them will allow you entry into what is essentially the same thing for Beatrice. She has, like, little pocket dimension thing of her own, her library space. But only one of those doors at a time is the correct one. And I also think the correct door periodically shifts as well. It's not just the same door, obviously. Again, it's been a long time since I watched season 1, so this is going off my memory too, but that's basically how it works. It could have been that for us too, you know? It's that there's like a million different ways to get into this thing, and so no one ever wanders in, but I just happen to. I'm just saying there's many different possibilities of what it is, but we're basically getting it confirmed here that we have been allowed to be here. SUICUNE has seen us and gone, okay, I'm going to allow this, presumably so that me and Yusin can face after this whole rivalry thing has gone on. This is the climax of the whole Yusin story thing right now. They're usually set up in inconspicuous places to where those with permission to enter can enter through doors and other kinds of entrances. I see. Okay, this makes sense too. So the reason it's in this house, it's not just, oh, it's randomly in this house. The reason is the legendary will set it up, at least I guess now in current day for the sake of people. If it's being set up like this with a trainer, it will be set up in a place where people, if they are entering or exiting, can leave inconspicuously. So a good example of that is a door. To you, you just see, oh, okay, this person's just entering through their door, but they're actually entering into the domain. And I suppose the whole reason of this is to keep this a secret thing, because clearly this isn't known information to everyone. So to keep it more of like a secret, you set it up in a way where the entrance isn't just out of nowhere, because if you just put it in the middle of nowhere, you will just see people just disappearing into thin air like that when they're entering a domain, presumably. So to get around that is put through somewhere like a door in that exact space so that it makes it easier for people to enter and leave without raising suspicion. Makes a lot of sense. You were granted access to this place by SUICUNE, so it is something wanted by both of us. Right, so I imagine SUICUNE understands and knows the feelings of its trainer since it has chosen to, you know, align with Yusin, knows that this is a long time coming, knows that this is how things need to end, and so has invited us into here so we can have our last final face-off, essentially, and settle this once and for all. Because as I said, this has been going on since Equity. This whole thing for SUICUNE, this rivalry, has been happening for a long time. So it makes sense that SUICUNE would allow this to happen. Both me and SUICUNE want to face you here, and that's the case if SUICUNE also wants this. So there's that. Which also makes sense because SUICUNE has been basically watching over both of us. This is how we bring a conclusion to all of this. I may resent you, but I'm not stupid enough to deny your strength. See, I like that too. He does obviously have resentment towards me. He's admitted, okay, you know what? In truth, I do not like you that much. But at the very least, he recognizes me as a trainer and says, you know what? I do understand that you are a talented, a strong trainer. I just don't like you because of everything that happened. Although, in the spirit of fairness, there is one last thing we have to discuss together. Oh, years ago, before the eruption on Cinnabar Island, here in the Kanto region, there stood a mansion on the island. Okay, so we're getting some more lore here. This is interesting. It was very old, abandoned, and largely a mystery. This is the Pokemon Mansion. Was it called the Pokemon Mansion? I think so, right? The Pokemon Mansion that had Ditto in it, and it also had, of course, all the stuff about Mew, all the journals about Mew and stuff. I mean, it always was kind of a mysterious place, right? Because you just had this old, abandoned mansion, but you had tons of stuff in there. You had all the journals, and you presume there'd be more stuff in there too. It was also, I think, presumed to be an old, well, kind of where they conducted experiments to do with Mew. If we're to assume that the whole Ditto being a failed clone of Mew thing is to be real, which there is a lot of backing to believe it, then it's presumed the reason that Ditto's there with the Mew journals is that was the place they were conducting experiments on Mew. So it is kind of like a mystery of a place, because you never learn for certain exactly what the place is. You just build your own assumptions. Before everything was lost to the eruption, a few people collected all of the very old books which existed within the mansion. And this is true too. I never even really considered this fact, but by the time you reach, you know, Johto time, Gen 2 times, you lose the mansion. The cinema gets destroyed in the volcano, so that mansion then disappears as well. Most of these books were stored away in the possession of Mr. Fuji in Lavender Town. I mean, that would also add some credence to that whole idea. That would make sense that given that there was the Mew journals and everything else there, it would make sense that Mr. Fuji would be the one to own or take in all of these books. These were taken by those on the island to preserve what history could be within these books. Makes sense. It's almost like Ohara Island in One Piece, where when the whole island is basically going to get, destroyed, burnt to the ground, they have all the information which they shouldn't have, and they decide they want to preserve all of the books and they're throwing it into the water and stuff. It's kind of like that. It's similar to that. Not in the exact same way, because these presumably aren't books that are illegal or they're not supposed to have, but they are trying to preserve these because it's like, history of the island. There's going to be a bunch of these books to do with the island. It is to preserve the memory and the knowledge that was stored within the island, You want to keep something behind. You don't want to let everything get burnt to the ground. Though, these books have now mostly been forgotten and sit dormant in Lavender Town. So how long ago, did they say how long ago the eruption was? If it's been 10 years in this universe since Red and Blue, it could have been anywhere within the past decade that the eruption occurred. So I guess, yeah, it could have been in, any number of years at this point since that eruption. So people probably had largely forgotten that, something like all the books were taken out and now stored in Lavender Town. Most people probably don't even know, When I passed through Lavender, I spoke at length with Mr. Fuji. Oh, so you met with Mr. Fuji as well. That's interesting. Oh, okay. I see. Because when we were going down from Lavender to Fuchsia, he was going up north towards here. So as we passed each other, I was going down from Lavender and he would have gone up to Lavender. And this is when this would have happened. Okay. After hearing much from him, I decided to be more open with him about my goals and desires. Mr. Fuji listened to me seriously, and after our conversation, he recommended me to check out some of the books, which is saved from Cinnabar. Okay. So, Yusin was honest with Mr. Fuji, which makes sense. Mr. Fuji is the type of person he is. He is obviously very wise, understanding. So Yusin was actually open about what he actually wanted, i.e. SUICUNE and everything. And Mr. Fuji recommended him to check out the books that they had. So presumably, there was something to do with those books, which has then been, useful for Yusin. Since he's bringing this up, I'm sure he's about to tell me. There must have been something important in one of these things. He hadn't read through them all, he is simply there to conserve them. But from looking over them, he had seen that many contained information and myths about different legendary Pokemon. I would say this also makes sense. Based off the nature of Cinnabar Mansion, it had all the stuff about Mew and everything. I would see that as the kind of place to have all of these different books about different myths and legends, because if it was sort of a hub for researching Mew and all of that stuff as well, I would imagine the people there, scientists or whoever it was, would have, collated different books and information on different legends and stuff if they were hunting Mew and potentially other Pokemon too. Therefore, he suggested I take a look too, as it could help me with my goals of partnering with SUICUNE. But what I did find was far more interesting, let's say. Okay, so he's found something. Among all the books was one that was extremely old. This book was noted to have been written in the region of Hisui. Damn. So, so we're talking at least probably at least 100, 150 years ago? Because Legends Arceus was 150 years ago, right? At least that's what I understand. And I would imagine that, I don't know the exact period in which Hisui would have turned into Sinnoh, but if this was from Hisui, I would imagine that it was a long time ago. Interesting, okay. Upon further reading, it would appear that this was the Sinnoh region in the days of old before it was renamed, before it was named Sinnoh, yeah. Sinnoh is a region with a rich and long history. It is thought that Sinnoh is the center of where this world was formed from, the original region of our world. That is true, at least from what I understand. Of any region, I guess Sinnoh would have the most, since it was like the beginning of everything. Many believe that Sinnoh holds many of the secrets of our world. They also believe that Sinnoh knows far more than the rest of the world about such things, without revealing all to the rest of the world. So, Sinnoh might know more than they let on. Sinnoh might know the most about everything, but they just keep that to themselves. It would kind of make sense. I mean, Sinnoh is meant to be this super powerful region in this universe. They're like, when it comes to battling, they're number one. they would probably want to hold secrets if they have certain things up their sleeve, I would imagine, right? And I do also think it would make sense for it to be Sinnoh, because Sinnoh would have a ton of history. It was, you know, supposed to be where everything started from. So they would have, you know, the most history and lore to them. After reading the book I'd have to agree. Interesting. Especially considering this knowledge comes from all the way back in the days of Hisui. That's true. That is very true. If he's found something which is not common knowledge in this book, and it dates all the way back from Hisui, that means they've known about this stuff as far back as that. And yet, it hasn't become common knowledge, which would suggest that yes, they are keeping certain information generally to themselves, outside of, you know, information that essentially gets leaked out via books or whatever if they make it out of the region. In this book, it not only detailed the history of many legendary Pokemon and lots of history of the region, but also specifically about the domains of legendary Pokemon. Okay. So they've known about legendary domains, at least a certain amount of people within Sinnoh, since as far back as Hisui, except this doesn't seem to be, as I said, common knowledge for people in the world as a whole. But at least a certain amount of likely important or knowledgeable people within Sinnoh have known about these things for potentially hundreds of years at this point. But most people don't know about it. So I would say I agree then. It probably is the case that, you know, at least certain families or certain people with enough power within Sui and then Sinnoh have known about this stuff for a long time. They just haven't been super outward in telling people about it, at least outside of the region. Interesting. So they've known about domains for a long time. It seems that even as far back in their history as this, they knew much of the domains of legends and such. More, in fact, than most people even today. Yeah. So they knew more back then, because presumably he's saying about the domains and stuff, but they probably had details about domains. So they had extensive knowledge and more, even more than the people today on domains, all the way back then. So they've been known about this stuff. In the past, it remained legible. It detailed about some of the specifics of the domains, and most importantly, what lies within the domains out of sight to people. Oh my god. The ashes of creation. It all ties back together. I get it. I get it now. Candace originally brought up this, vaguely said the ashes. Now, ever since that happened, this has been, as I said, another storyline thread which I've been wondering about, because she brought that up super vaguely, didn't expand upon it whatsoever, and I'm wondering, what is she referring to? What are these ashes that she's talking about? I don't know, and it hadn't been mentioned again. Since it seemed to be something tied potentially to Sinnoh, from what she was saying, I didn't even know whether we were gonna get an answer within this game at all, because maybe we wouldn't. But now, we've come full circle back, the ashes of creation. So we're talking about the ashes of creation. Again, whatever, I'm assuming this is going to be expanded upon, but this is why Candace was bringing it up and why Candace knew about this, because she is from Sinnoh. So again, presumably, more important people from Sinnoh know about all of this stuff. They know about all this domain stuff, about these ashes of creation and whatever else. They know. And now we're finally, potentially, depending on how much he knows, depending on how much is in this book, because he said what was legible. Presumably this book is hundreds of years old, so there probably are parts of it which are illegible, unreadable, whatever. I'm assuming we're going to get at least somewhat more details about what this is. I just find it interesting that it was brought up by Candace, so that also does suggest that, yeah, these people from Sinnoh, at the very least, more important people, gym leaders, Cynthia, whoever else, do know about this stuff. They know. I see. The ashes of creation. It's not understood fully even now what exactly the ashes of creation are, but they appear to be something left over from the very creation of our world itself. They are not present in the world today. But as the domains are preserved spaces from the earliest days of our world, the ashes are present still in the domains of legends. That makes sense. So, when the world was created, originally, like everything was created by Arceus, I imagine at the beginning of everything, just like the beginning of our real world, everything was different. And the ashes of creation are some kind of like almost powerful residue left over from the creation of everything, which existed in the earliest parts of our universe. Kind of like, okay, not the same at all, but I was thinking like primordial soup. Sort of something that existed all the way back then, which no longer exists now, is remnants of the earliest parts of everything. So when Arceus created, presumably, literally everything, the universe, the world, everything, these ashes of creation were like a leftover byproduct, and they don't exist anymore from what we can tell, because it's been however many years, it could be billions for all we know. But back in the earliest stage of the universe, they were present, they were probably abundant within that early world, and these domains of legendary Pokemon have existed for essentially as long as the world itself, because the legendaries came first, and with them their innate domains or whatever. So within these domains that are like a preserved space, you can still find the ashes of creation from the beginning of everything. I get it. Interesting. So I now finally understand, at least conceptually, what the ashes are. That's very interesting. I'm not sure for now, but from what I can tell, they may also exist in Sinnoh too, at least in certain places. Okay, that would also make sense. Candace brought it up, so it would make sense if it existed within Sinnoh. But also, Sinnoh is the point, at least from our understanding, where everything started, like I said before. It is known as like where the world originated from, essentially. So if there was anywhere ever that still had the ashes somewhere, it would be Sinnoh, because everything started from there. It was like the beginning of everything. So it would also kind of make sense if they, of anywhere, still had the ash of creation, at least, as you said, somewhere. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. I do like that. I do like that a lot. It would make sense, like I said. If everything started from Sinnoh, then they would have this sort of primordial energy still contained there. It would make sense given the origin of their region, yeah. The ashes are something which are not visible to humans, inconceivable in nature to creatures as simple as us, but they do hold great power, the primal power of the early universe, which is mostly inaccessible. So they exist, but they're not something perceivable to humans. Even if you're in something like a domain like we are right now, they exist, but it's not something you can just like see as a human, which makes sense. As human beings, even in the real world, we actually can't see much of anything. Now, what is perceivable to us is like a mere fraction of everything that exists. You have X-rays and all these other different things. As an example, what we can actually see ourselves is like just a tiny amount of everything. So again, it would make sense that we can't see certain things, and in this case, we can't. And they do contain a lot of power, which again, I would expect, considering these are like some sort of thing left over from the creation of everything. It makes sense that, you know, these small things hold a ton of power. But mostly is the important word here. Oh, he said it's mostly inaccessible, that power. But yeah, mostly means that for the most part you can't, but maybe there is some possibility, which would also make sense because as far as I remember, it's been a while, it's been a few weeks, but from what I remember, what Candace said, again, not verbatim, but just from my rough memory, is something along the lines of, I didn't have my full team, and also I didn't have access to the ashes. That's along the lines of what she said. What I could infer from that then is that there are people, like in Sinnoh, who do have access to the powers of the ashes. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made sense for her to say that. So yeah, I would assume then that there is some way to draw out power from these. The people of old out in Hisui discovered something very interesting. If a Pokemon is in its domain alone, it will be entirely unaffected by the ashes. Okay. However, if the Pokemon is in the presence of the ashes, while with a human trainer that they share a strong bond with, it is possible to utilize their primal power. I see. Okay. So it's kind of like, in a way, Mega Evolution in the sense that you have this power contained within the Keystone and within the Megastone, and then the Pokemon itself that they bind to, but you need a bond with a trainer to bring out that power. So I assume it's similar in concept to that. You have the ashes, you have the Pokemon. They are compatible. It is a power that technically a Pokemon, or at least a legendary Pokemon within their own domain, can gain access to. Then this begs the question, right? At least this is what I'm thinking. Why? Because, well, I'm just thinking in my head, these Pokemon, legendaries, the domains, everything, have existed as long as the universe itself, essentially, from what I understand, or at least the world. But then, as far as I'm aware, people haven't. People came later. So, if people haven't existed that long, then why is it that you need a person as an intermediate thing between the two things to access that power? That seems like an odd thing when you'd think it would just be a Pokemon accessing its old primal power. I don't know. It's strange. It shouldn't be the case, but it is. Even the people of Hisui were confused on this point. Why would the connection to a human being... Oh, okay, here we go. Why would an access to a human be needed to access his primal power from the days long before people and their connection to Pokemon? There is no clear answer, and there may never be one. Perhaps it was always intended for Pokemon and humans to come together as we have. Or perhaps the great Arceus, who is believed to have created everything, simply knew exactly what the future held from the moment of inception. Well, I mean, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Because again, like I said, it seems strange, and he said it too, that you would need this. Because the ashes have existed longer than humans themselves. So it could be the fact that it was always meant to be for Pokemon and people to come together. And when Pokemon and people do come together finally and bond under these special conditions, this power can be brought back out. And as I said, maybe Arceus knew. I mean, Arceus is like a god, right? So maybe Arceus knew from the beginning of everything that eventually humans would come and eventually this would happen. And so this was like an inevitability. And it works in that way because, as I said, humans and Pokemon were always supposed to come together like this. And under these special conditions, then yeah, this power can be brought back out. Could make sense. I mean, like I said, it's just a theory because no one truly understands it and there's no way to know. This stuff would be way too old for people to know for sure. Although it's probably arrogant to try and understand the intricacies and intentions of our creator. Now that is probably true. Whatever the case is, if we're talking about Arceus as the creator of everything, our god essentially in this universe, it is a little bit arrogant to assume that we could possibly comprehend fully the intentions and, the meaning behind everything. But regardless of the why, it is simply a fact. Pokemon bonded with their trainer under the influence of the ashes can make use of their power. I believe there may be some more stipulations to this power. Oh, for example, I believe a Pokemon also has to be adjusted to the ashes by being around them long enough. It may be possible for even regular Pokemon to access the power of the ashes if they were adjusted and in tune with them enough. Oh. So again, this is just sort of theory work, but I guess what's being said is even regular Pokemon could potentially gain access to whatever this power is from the ashes. It's just, they need to be adjusted to it, and regular Pokemon don't have the opportunity to do that because they obviously don't have access to a domain. They can't create their own domain like a legendary can. Legendary can create and be in their own domain, and so they will be well adjusted to the ashes. But in theory, there's nothing stopping a regular Pokemon being able to bring out this power. It just, hasn't been proven because there hasn't been the opportunity for it. However, this is just ideas I have, nothing I've had the chance to try and prove. Okay, yeah, so nothing proven, just an idea. But the legends who have spent much time in their domains around the influence of the ashes are able to freely utilize the power alongside their trainer. When the power of the ashes is able to be used, the Pokemon utilizing this power is able to enter what was referred to as its awakened form by the people of Hisui. Again, we can't know anything for sure as this predates our history. So okay. Whoa. At the very least, legendary Pokemon, if they are in tune with the ashes, which presumably most of them are from being in their domains, and then they manage to create a strong bond with a trainer and are in the presence of those ashes, so within their domain, they're able to like enter a new form. So very akin to Mega Evolution, but presumably even more powerful. The awakened form sounds fucking terrifying. But the best theory is that in the earliest stages of our world, Pokemon were far stronger. They were far more primal and savage, as the world itself back then was far more inhospitable in general. Right, so in like the earliest times of the universe, Pokemon would have been far more like, I mean, you have primal forms of Pokemon, right? Back in the oldest days of everything, these primal Pokemon were far stronger, far more savage, and over time have sort of adapted and became a lot more, not necessarily weaker, but you know what I mean, they've adapted to the world. It's kind of like how, you know, we had dinosaurs and then we have animals now. Yeah, obviously, we still have some super powerful, scary, strong animals. However, you can't lie and say that dinosaurs in general weren't a lot scarier and more savage back then, because they were. The world was a whole different place back then. Creatures in general were much bigger. Dinosaurs were a lot more, again, the sort of savage creatures than what we have today. We wouldn't really be able to live alongside them in the same way that we live among animals now, at least not as easily. In these early times, the ashes of creation were likely both abundant and widespread. I see. This is something that I hadn't considered, but this also makes sense. Of course, as I said, just referencing the real world example of dinosaurs, just speaking in general, things in ancient times, primal times, were a lot more savage and dangerous, generally speaking. But also is the fact that just after the creation of everything, these ashes or whatever, which are the source of a lot of power, were obviously going to be way more abundant and just sort of everywhere, and therefore Pokemon in general would be susceptible and like always around them, and thus Pokemon, generally speaking, would all just be a lot stronger. This lessened over an incomprehensibly long time, leading up to the world we eventually have today. So it seems like from what he said, it's all settled. It's obviously probably been millions, if not billions of years, and the ashes for the most part have basically gone away, or they've been dormant for so long that they've basically faded into non-existence, apart from potentially in Sinnoh, from the sounds of it. Now, with the world changing so much, evolution has led Pokemon to be in a far more stable state. However, as I stated before, the power of ancient times is not gone from Pokemon strictly speaking. It's more like Pokemon have evolved and changed over time, and now this potential is locked away within them, you could say, and we are the key. Yeah, I was about to say we're sort of the key. So Pokemon still have this sort of primal potential within them. Like I said, primal Pokemon are already a thing. And it's kind of like, in the case of this universe, I guess, all Pokemon have a sort of primal energy to them. They all existed within these primordial times. I'm sure there were other Pokemon too back then that are, like, didn't make it till now. But Pokemon have these sort of primal existences, and by using the ashes, which is this primal power that's been around since they were in that form that was what they were like, you can now tap back into that if you have A, the ashes, but then B, you now need humans, trainers as the key, as such, to be able to unlock it. You need a couple of prerequisites. You need the Pokemon to be around the ashes, to B, have adjusted to them enough to be able to tap into the power, and then the final piece of the puzzle is to have the human trainer there as the key to then unlock finally this potential. I see, okay. The ashes are the source of tapping back into this power, and the trainer providing a bond with the Pokemon is the key that can be used to finally bring out this power. Yeah. Very long-winded, but this is most things covered. It isn't exactly a simple topic to cover after all. Plus, no one has all the answers. Some things can be observed, of course, but other details will likely remain theories forever. Sometimes it can't be helped. Unfortunately, this is true as well. This is true of anything. You can get as good as you can with observing things, with science, with other things, no matter how good you get. There are simply some things that are so old, so ancient, that they can't properly be observed. You can come up with theories, you can, do observations based off other things, but there's never a concrete way of knowing all of the details. You'll never know everything exactly how it transpired because it was just too long ago. And of course, this would definitely be one of those things because the topic we're talking about is, from what it sounds like, from the earliest parts of existence. So we still have proof of some of these things by these awakened forms and these ashes and stuff that have been noted down over time. However, we don't know, the full details of the beginning of existence because, as humans, we probably never would. I'm sure you've probably understood what I'm getting towards here. After our long chase and eventual partnership with SUICUNE, I've been able to achieve SUICUNE's awakened form within this domain. I feel stupid. I don't know why or how, but even though this whole time, I think this whole time he was explaining everything and all the lore and everything, I got so engrossed in thinking about all of it that I totally didn't even think about this point, even though this should have been the most obvious thing that he was getting towards, and I didn't even think about it. And now, yes, I've just realized, oh shit, the reason he's telling me all of this is because this applies to him. He has managed to get all the prerequisites. He's managed to go and partner with SUICUNE, and he's now, bonded with SUICUNE over time, and is now in this domain with me. He's got me here in the perfect place for him, in the domain, around the ashes, and now he has access to whatever this awakened form is that I'm not ready for. I really don't feel like I'm ready for this right now. I don't even know what to think, because I don't know what's coming, and I'm absolutely fucking terrified, and I just don't feel like I'm ready. But to be fair, like he said, he's not just gonna let me leave. It's too late, bro. I'm already in this shit. So the more I've had time to think on everything, the more I've come to realize a confusing contradiction in what I've achieved. What contradiction? I've been sat here for a minute trying to think about what he maybe could be referring to. I honestly don't know, so I'm going to let him talk and see, because I'm curious to see. Based on our current theories on how SUICUNE and its fellow counterparts came into being, SUICUNE would not have existed. Oh, I didn't even think about that either. Wait, that's true. Yeah, so the theory is, as it goes, and I think this was even talked about back in Critique at the Brass Tower, or whatever it's called. The current theory is, as many fans believe as well, you had the Brass Tower, which eventually, a long time ago, 100, 150, I think it was 150 years ago, or something, burnt to the ground. Within that tower, there was what we assume to be a Vaporeon, a Flareon, and a Jolteon. Ho-Oh then came past, maybe put out the flames? I can't remember. But one thing I know that it did do is resurrect those three Pokemon into the three legendary beasts, Suicune, Entei, and Raikou, which would add up with, because they, if you really look at them in that light, yeah, maybe you could see them as like an enhanced legendary version of those three Pokemon. That's the current theory on how these Pokemon came into being. But if that's the case, then these Pokemon have only existed between 100 and 200 years. So this whole talk of primal things and things of like the most ancient degree wouldn't apply to these Pokemon, because they've barely existed any time at all. They've existed like 2 or 3 generations of human beings. Okay. I see what he means now with the contradiction, yeah. This adds another layer of confusion to all of this. My current thoughts are 2 possible theories on the matter. Okay, hit me. Either because SUICUNE is a legendary Pokemon, it being created from the power of Ho-Oh at least partially contained its power, as the power was transferred over during the resurrection. This gives SUICUNE the innate abilities and powers of any legendary Pokemon. I see. I mean, I can kind of see this. If Ho-Oh was to transfer sort of legendary power owed to another Pokemon, it is resurrecting these 3 deceased Pokemon and turning them into a legendary Pokemon, which I do think I went over almost a year ago, back when I was in Critique. It is kind of crazy that Ho-Oh actually has that power. I think Ho-Oh is very overlooked because it seems to be less popular than Lugia. And I think Lugia stole the spotlight because of Pokemon 2000, the movie. But Ho-Oh is actually a very interesting and super powerful Pokemon if you think about it. Sure, in current day, we have crazy, legendary Pokemon, especially since 4chan and stuff, with ridiculous powers. But I can't think of another legendary Pokemon that can literally take a normal Pokemon which has died, and turn it into a legendary Pokemon. That is crazy power. Ho-Oh can create other legendary Pokemon. Either way, having that ability, I can see that it transfers some of its power over, recreates these Pokemon from the ashes into new legendary Pokemon, and such they have this innate standing as legendary Pokemon, which comes with innate abilities, for example, to cast a domain, among other things. It's a little messy, but at the same time, I can understand the idea of the theory. Thus, under the influence of the ashes, this is simply how SUICUNE would have taken form in ancient times. I see, that makes sense too. So, in terms of whatever its awakened form is or whatever, it's a case of the ashes can interact with it, and it reverts to if SUICUNE, you know, had existed back in these primordial times, this is how SUICUNE would have appeared at the time. I see. Okay, that makes sense too. Or, oh, is this the other theory? Or, alternatively, it could be the case that our current theories of how this legendary trio came to exist were wrong all along. Yeah, I guess that's the other thing. It could be, because that's all a theory. This is stuff which, even in main Pokemon canon, has never been confirmed. It is a theory with good standing, in my opinion. I buy it, but it's not been confirmed. So it could be the case that these Pokemon have existed far longer than that, and our theories on it in terms of that were completely wrong, and that's why. Yet more that we simply don't know. That's true too. At the end of the day, something like that, this is another example where something like this, you'll just never have an answer unless, you know, we could find out the exact origins of SUICUNE and stuff. We don't know. We don't know. Details from my ancestors are often vague, so I can't know for sure, but I may be the first in my bloodline to have entered SUICUNE's domain and achieved its awakened form. Now that's cool. This obviously immediately sets him apart then, because we've known, as long as we've known Yucine, that his ancestors, people within his lineage, have partnered with SUICUNE before, and this was a big, you know, impetus for why he originally started to chase his Pokemon in the past. So that makes sense, but then, you know, rather than it being put on the same level as his ancestors, if this is the case, this is something revolutionary, you know? This is something that none of them, by the looks of it, have ever done before. So Yucine is actually going a step above what anyone in his bloodline has achieved until now, which I think is very good and very fitting for his character, since he's been going through a lot for this. It's been going on for a long time. While all legends appear to have the intrinsic capability to create their own domains, it is not common for them to allow entry into them, even to a trainer they have chosen themselves. That makes sense too. So, obviously, as you said, it seems like every legendary can do this. That doesn't mean that they would necessarily just allow you in there like it's nothing. This is like their own bubble of space-time, essentially. So, to be allowed into there would probably be like a great honor, because it means they have trust in you that you don't have malintentions, you know? This is their one ultra safe space. So even though they have extra power in here, from what it sounds like, they don't want to just let their guard down completely. And so this, I guess, is a sign that SUICUNE trusts Yucine. It is the truest sign that they trust in you fully. So let's do this one last time. Oh no. Oh no. One final battle between the two of us. You have been my only true rival and competition throughout all of this. You've always been stronger than me, with battling at a base level. But now that I have continued the will of my ancestors and achieved my dream, it is the right time for one last showdown. It's so cool, man. Like, I can't express it enough. And I know, I'll say this again, I know I've been glazing certain aspects of this game and how this game depicts things, but like, how can I not find this so much cooler? Usually, Yucine is kind of a loser. You battle him one time, he has an extremely mid team, he chases SUICUNE around, he seems really interested in SUICUNE, but he never captures it, and then in the end, you come out here to where we are right now, well, you know, not exactly here, but here in Kanto, you capture SUICUNE, he's there, and he's fine with it. All of that fucking sucks. It's not even like you have a rival in, you know, terms of stuff like to do with SUICUNE, and it kind of begs the question of why Yucine even exists as a character. Whereas with this, he's made it clear since day one, I've had ancestors, people in my lineage that have partnered with SUICUNE. It's my destiny. I don't care if SUICUNE has an eye on you as well. I will be the one to partner with SUICUNE. I will be the one who ends up with SUICUNE. We battle, assign wood, we go through a whole bunch of things, we see each other throughout when we're looking at SUICUNE, and eventually, as we come into Kanto, he clearly has began to understand things more, and, you know, as we progress through, he's realized, okay, I think I have what it takes, SUICUNE is going to partner with me, and we finally come to a climax here. He has gone further than all of his ancestors, he's made it into SUICUNE's domain, he has achieved his dream, and now, you know, it's like the will of him and his ancestors against me. It's time for one final showdown. Whole thing's been building up since, you know, the 3rd or 4th badge. Super fucking cool. And I'm blown away. I'm terrified. I'm terrified because I think the battle is about to start. And I'm so scared. Let's see. Let's just lock in and see what happens. Everything I have, everything I've worked towards is here right now. This is the time at last in which I finally overcome my final trial and best you. Allow me to show you the true power of the world that no longer exists. Oh god, we're jumping straight in. Okay, what are we working with here? SUICUNE Prodigy you've seen. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? He's leading with Entei and Raikou, and they're level fucking 72. Oh fuck. I don't normally do this, but the first thing I'm doing is double protecting. I want to fully scout out what these two Pokemon want to do. Does he have a fire type on, you know, move coming my way? Sunny day. Are you kidding me? I needed the rain. Swift. Okay, that's fine. Why did it set up the sun? Okay. Yeah, Cosmos, you gotta go, bro. I maybe could have been fine in the rain, but no. Enter of the sun up? Absolutely not. Let me brine. How much am I going to do? I'm going to burn Raikou just in case. And assuming... Okay, who knows what's going to happen? Let me go into Ton and see what happens. I can protect, I can whatever. Let's just see what happens. Raikou Magnet rises. I mean, that's good for him, but I don't have any ground moves, so do what you want. Thunderfang. Unless you paralyze me, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, and I land. Okay, I land. So, Raikou is burned, so if it's physical... I've shut that down now. Sun is still up. I do think when the sun ends, the rain will come back, which is good. I don't know. I see Entei as more of the threat, right? Because it... Yeah, I mean, it's in the sun. I'm going to brine Entei, see how much that does. And do I protect... No, I'm just going to straight Blaze Kick into Raikou. Thunder. Oh no. This might be really bad. I maybe should have protected. Oh my god, it doubled in. I should have protected. I just wanted to get more damage off. I should have protected, man. That did nothing in the sun. I didn't think it was gonna just double in like that for no good reason, bro. I should have protected. I would have wasted their entire turn and then switched back out. Let me go... Oh, God, let me go into Juck. I don't know who else I could go into. I don't... Okay, the rain is back. I've brought the rain back. I've just made its thunder 100% accurate, though. Okay, in that case... Low key... Oh, I don't know. Okay, I think the Raikou is a bigger threat now. With the rain gone, I'm doubling into it. And it set it back up. You fucking... Ooh, that's annoying. Psych up? Okay, that's fine. Because I don't have any stat boosts. This is going to do nothing, man. Crit. That was a crit, by the way. Don't get it into red. Do not get it into red. Because if he has full restores... What the fuck is that? Okay, that's fine. Oran Berry. I don't know why a bunch of these late stage Pokemon have been given Oran Berries over Citrus Berries. That I don't really understand. Okay, it's been put into red. Fuck my life. Please, okay. Please. Do not heal. No! Well, actually, I mean, it's just got rid of its accuracy again, right? I guess, for now? Oh my god, it's got fucking swagger. Are you kidding me? Wait, that's really bad. Okay, I've just recognized what's happening here. Don't hit yourself. Okay, Jug needs to go. That's crazy. This thing has Swagger Psych Up. So this thing can raise my attack and then steal the attack boost for an Entei, leaving me confused. Absolutely not. That is not happening. I'm burning Raikou again, and I have to switch out, but the only thing I can think of is Helios. Entei has Swift, Swagger, Psych Up, and Thunderfang, so I'm good. No fire moves, right? Missed. Perfect. So we're swaggering again. Don't know why. Okay, please land. I need to land this thing. I land again. Perfect. Not that it's crazy to land 285s, by the way. It's just, you know how scarred I am after everything that's fucking happened. Okay. Raikou's burned again. Entei is not a massive issue at the moment. My brine does double now. So let me just brine into you and go back into Chuck. I cannot let this thing steal my attack boost. I cannot let that happen. Rain is back. If it thunders, it's now 100% accurate. Magnet rises again. Perfect. Thankfully, Raikou is set on getting all this setup up. And for some reason, Entei keeps hitting Swagger, which, so long as I keep changing, isn't going to be an issue for me. How much can I do? This is now double in the rain. Can I kill? This might kill. Thank you, Roxy. That was a crit. I don't think I needed that crit, so it was kind of a waste, but I'll take it. Okay. Raikou down. What is coming out next? I'm so scared. I don't know what his team's going to be. Is it going to be the same? Huh? What the fuck is that? Oh my fucking god. Dude. What is that? It's level 80! It's fucking level 80! Oh my god, I'm fucked. Oh my god, I'm fucked. What typing is this? SUICUNE A. This is Awakened SUICUNE. They're so fucking cool. They're so cool. But also, what the fuck, man? What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what typing this thing is. Is it still water? It must be water, right? So it has the rain up for itself. Water electric? I see the sparks around its head. Water dark? Water electric? What if it's dark electric? What if it's dark something else? I don't know, man. I don't know what type this thing is. Do I just try and hit it with a T-bolt? Or do I protect and switch? Fuck, but then if I protect and switch, who do I switch into? I'm scared this thing is dark. So I really don't want to go into Helios. Do I just try and T-bolt this thing? I want a T-bolt to test... I want T-bolt to test the type effectiveness. I want to protect on Juck, but I can't. Oh, this is bad. Who can I swap into? Now? Oh, I really don't want to swap into now. It's got Thunderfang. Maybe Cosmos, because I know it doesn't have a fire move. Let's just see what happens. I just want to see if this is still super effective. I think so we can probably still be part water. It's diving. Wait, that's not bad, actually. Stop swaggering, dude. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Stop doing it, man. Okay, that doesn't get redirected. I think the dive was going onto Juck, right? There's no way. Yeah, there's no way that it was diving onto Roxy. And even if it is, I think I'll be okay. Not that I know the stats of this thing. That's my other concern. I feel like this thing is probably insane stats-wise, and it's level 80, and it's in the rain, and it's potentially stab. I am scared. Don't get me wrong, I am scared, but I need to find out information, and I also really want to burn this thing. Oh, if it's diving, it could be physical. So I'm going to burn it, actually, and I'm slower than it. So let me do this, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to full restore to get rid of... No, I'm going to full heal to get rid of confusion. This thing keeps swaggering. So if this thing now decides to psych up, it's cheating. 100% cheating. It's swaggered 3 or 4 turns in a row. Let's see what happens. There's a dive. Okay, how much does this do? It's resisted. Oh my god, okay. Psych up. It's cheating. The game is literally cheating, dude. Oh, Roxy. Okay, it fucked up. It fucked up. It clicked the wrong side. Okay. You know what? I'll cut it a little bit of slack. If that had psyched up Cosmos, 100%, I would have said cheating. I would have called cheating on that 100%. So what do I do here is the question. If I protect, can it Surely if I protect, it can't psych up, right? I'm gonna... I don't want to get rid of the ending because I feel like there's something potentially worse. I could toxic it. Let me try this. Oh, it's got Ice Beam. I'm fucking dead. I didn't even consider that, and I should have protected. Oh my god. Oh no. I should have detected. That's another time now. Okay, is this super effective? It is. Okay. How much do I do? That's it? Are you fucking kidding me? How fucking strong is this thing? Nah, that's bad. That's bad, bro. The only thing I can think to do is go Chuck and just double T-bolt it and get this thing fucking gone, bro. Get this thing out of my face. Sludge Bomb. Okay, chill. Don't do too much. Don't poison me. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And you're... Okay, I think this thing's gone. Oh, I should have detected. What the fuck am I doing, dude? What am I doing? I should have protected both times. I've just lost 2 great team members. Please kill, Chuck. I need you to kill. No, it'll kill with the burn. It will 100% kill the burn. Okay, Awakened SUICUNE down. We did it. We did it. We lost 2 team members, but the SUICUNE is gone. God, that was actually fucking insane. You see how little damage that Thunderbolt did? Stab Thunderbolt? Bro, no. No, enough of that. Enough of that. Okay. What? Dragonite. Dude. Level 70 Dragonite. Let me burn it. I need to burn it. Let me just protect. Because I don't know who's going for who. I need to burn this. Swift. Okay. Do not grass or ground move me. Crit. Cool. Outrage. Oh my god. My entire life just flashed before my eyes. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Dude, I thought it was over. I thought I just lost Roxy and I was about to fucking cry. Oh my fucking god. That is the closest Roxy has come to dying maybe ever, or at the very least in a very, very long time. Fucking hell, dude. Okay. I'm protecting and I'm healing. Jesus. Okay. Outrage just doesn't switch targets, right? It fucking better not. It better not. It shouldn't do much. Okay. Oh, okay. Fuck's sake, man. I mean, maybe it always does that. I feel like it does always do that. What is that? Leftovers. Okay. Burn does more than leftovers in this generation, yeah. I'm going to T-Bolt Dragonite and heal. I want to get rid of this Entei, but I still feel like the Dragonite is the bigger threat here. Psych Up, I don't have any boosts, do I? No, Roxy definitely doesn't. Outrage again. On Jark again. So it's just random. But it is burnt, so it shouldn't do much. See, look how much that would do if it wasn't burnt, bro. Thank God, all the way back after the 3rd gym or whenever it was, I decided to take Will-O-Wisp, bro. Thank God, past me knew that it would be the best utility I could have. Sure, I miss it all the time, but man, has it saved my ass sometimes. Also, how are you not confused yet? How, bro? There we go. I was going to say, no way you last another turn. In that case, let me... Who has a stronger T-Bolt? Roxy is 146. Jark is 192. By my calculations then, I should be able to heal Jark on Roxy's turn and kill it with a T-Bolt. If my calculations are correct. Swift comes out, that does nothing. Hopefully, of course, Dragonite could hit itself. Nice. Perfect. This should definitely kill now, based off Roxy's. See no reason why this should kill. So this is new. He definitely never had a Dragonite. I don't know what the rest of his team is going to be. I've taken out 3 Pokemon, so he still has 2 left, I think. Still has 2 left. What does he have left? Scizor. Damn, his team is fucking crazy, bro. Let me, again, burn, protect. Let's see what he's going to go for, but I need to burn this thing. Okay, perfect. And we land again. Roxy, thank you. You're making up for so much right now, dude. You're making up for so much. Iron defense, that's fine. We got 2 special attackers on the field. I'm honestly confident now to finally kill this Entei. Because, I mean, you know, Scizor's attack is... What the fuck just happened? Does it have hydration? Oh my god. Oh my god, I think SUICUNE does have hydration. I think Eris had hydration. Are we fucking serious, bro? I know that I've had a Scizor, but there's no way I would have remembered that. Okay, I'm brining, T-bolting. I want this thing gone then if I can't burn it. If I can't burn this thing, I want it gone, bro. I missed. Wait, what? What do you mean I missed? This thing has fucking bright powder? It has to. How else would I have missed? No way. Iron defense. Okay. Thank god it's throwing. Thank god it's throwing. Well, in the AI's mind, it's not throwing. But to me, it is because I don't have any physical moves right now. Oh my god, bro. Okay, let me... Okay. Brine wouldn't kill. I'm going to brine T-Bolt and just see what happens. Thunderfang onto Roxy. Do not flinch, you're paralyzed, bro. Okay, perfect. This will get down to red. Unless I get a high roll. Oh, a crit. Now that is a crit that's useful because now this will be redirected into Entei. Would have rather had the brine redirected, but I'll take this. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Finally, a crit that somewhat matters. I like that. Get you into yellow. Nice. And, damn, a Thunderbolt paralysis. I haven't got one of those in forever. What is the last Pokemon to come out? What is the last Pokemon? Nothing can be scarier than an awakened SUICUNE, that's for sure. A Gang... Oh! He had a Gengar in the first battle, and I think he always has a Haunter in the normal games. Okay. Gengar's kind of scarier. I'm gonna double protect real quick to check for Destiny Bond, is what I'm doing here. Shadow Claw. Okay, that's fine. Of course, paralyzed on my protect term, but that's okay. Entei's yellow, doesn't have scary moves, and is paralyzed. So Entei will be going last, that's fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to brine Psychic. Not going to bother burning. I think a brine Psychic combo should 100% kill this Gengar. Brine will get Gengar down below half. No, Psychic, sorry. And then Brine will 100% just finish it off in the rain. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Another crit that actually mattered. Because what if I got it down to yellow and then it Destiny Bonded? Wait, do I kill this thing now? Oh my god, perfect ending. Finally crits that mattered. Also, Juck seems to like... Juck crits like it has super luck. I don't know how he does it. Dude, we did it. We did it. We got through. Oh my god, that SUICUNE was fucking terrifying, bro. I still don't know what type it was for sure. SUICUNE Prodigy You've is such a cool title, bro. Oh my god. We did it. We did it. We made it through. We have completed, finished, tied up the You've arc. It's done at very long last. Again, this has been a background thing going on for almost the entire game. And what a fucking conclusion, bro. Some of the coolest lore dumping and, like, you know, exposition about the world that we've had, period. And then an insane battle with fucking awakened SUICUNE, dude. Awakened SUICUNE. That was crazy. It was water something. It definitely had another typing, 100%, but I don't know what it was. Fucking hell, bro. In the rain, too. Level 80. What a fucking battle, bro. And we made it through. And the worst thing is, I should have protected on those 2 turns. Just to make sure. I don't know why I thought it was just going to dive again, for sure. No, it's so stupid of me. And I can't even remember fully. Oh, the Terminal Ton, I should have just done it to see what was going to happen. It's the whole reason I had Protect on those 2 Pokemon. And I should have done it. And I feel really fucking stupid for not doing it. But the past is the past. At the very least, we made it through this terrifying battle. We can always rebuild. Okay, anyway, let's see what You've has to say. Even this isn't enough, huh? So be it. I've already achieved what I set out to do. Allowing you in here to beat you was simply a bonus. Now that I actually believe. I understand on the surface that actually sounds like massive cope, but I actually do believe him. His goal from the beginning was never to beat me. His goal was to beat me in getting SUICUNE, and he did that. He'd already acknowledged from, you know, a long time ago, you're the better trainer, essentially, but he wanted SUICUNE from the start. That was his goal, and he's gone ahead and he's done it. There's no taking that away from him. He's already achieved his goal. To him, this was a bonus of, hey, maybe now I've achieved my dream. What if I can also beat you because I don't like you, because you're my rival? But even though he couldn't, it was only a bonus to begin with. I genuinely believe it. As much of a cope as it does sound, I genuinely do believe it. Clearly, there is a difference in our levels as trainers, but I'm not going to beat myself up over losing to a champion. There we go. Also fair, by the way. Given my standing, like, you shouldn't, you know, in his position, he shouldn't beat himself up over losing to me, because I'm literally the champion of Johto, setting out to also be the champion of Kanto. It makes sense. I've been bigged up from the beginning as a prodigious trainer. It's just how it is. One thing that I found out while looking into my ancestors, is that in the case of every single one of them, they had a rival who had caught the attention of SUICUNE. I see. So there's always been this rival in the lives of all of them who have, you know, pushed them, I guess, towards making sure they get SUICUNE. Those in my bloodline have always won the favor of SUICUNE, but they still never ended up beating their rivals in battle even then. Oh, so this is almost like a fated to be type of scenario. Like, people in his bloodline will always, you know, get the push they need through their rival to get SUICUNE, but in the end, when it comes down to it, they can never beat their rival even after getting SUICUNE. Now, I don't know how it was for the other members of his family, but of course, like I said, for Yucine, it was always about SUICUNE. So for him, it's not a massive hit. But it is interesting that this is sort of this like fated thing to keep reoccurring. I thought selfishly that I may be the one to at last break this curse. Sometimes history just repeats itself. That is true. That is true. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, you think you're going to be the one and you're just not. And that's okay. I mean, at the very least, he's already come to terms with it immediately after. So I don't have much left here. I think after this, I'm going to travel away from these regions. Oh, he's leaving. I mean, that makes sense though, because yeah, I mean, he's done everything he needed to here. He got what he wanted, and shit, now he can go and do whatever he wants, so long as SUICUNE goes with him. I've been here my entire life, living in pursuit of my goal. And now, I've not only achieved my goal, but I've also found interest in something new. Finding the Hisuian book has made me realize just how much we don't know. Also, he's taking an interest in all like the history of it and stuff. I like that. We're painfully ignorant to the world, also true. There clearly lies much in history which we simply don't know about. I mean, based off learning all this stuff, then yeah, definitely. I also have my own suspicions about certain things, and the only way for me to find out is to get out there and discover the truth for myself. It is important to always maintain a goal to stay motivated. That is actually extremely true, by the way. You should always keep some form of goal in mind, otherwise it's super easy to just lose motivation and everything. So I suppose this is goodbye. Damn. Yeah, this is it. After all of that, this is it. I do hold some resentment towards you, but it's not as if I hate you. Wanting to defeat you has ended up inadvertently making me stronger now. I doubt we'll ever see each other again, but if we do, I'll be even stronger by then. But this is it for now. I mean, it is true though. I did push him to become way stronger than he probably would have been otherwise, so it was like, you know, inadvertently a help for him. Ame, the only thing I can tell you is that I've barely scratched the surface here. The deeper you look into things, the more things you uncover and the more you realize how little you know. It's scary. There are hidden truths in the world that only some know. There is definitely levels to this, and the more that I learn, the more that I feel as though I'm not safe. Oh? There is without a doubt something or someone lurking beneath it all. See, I keep getting that feeling too, because we keep being told things. I keep learning things. I keep being told things, and it just always feels like, and I think I went over this with when I was talking to that Team Rocket grunt on Nugget Bridge. It does feel like there's something going on out of sight. It feels like there's something, you know, on the underground, something out of sight happening. That there's someone behind a lot of things that, like, I don't know. It just feels like there's more to this than I understand, you know, and it is kind of scary, but, and plus we had that whole thing from Sabrina too. that whole vision of the future and bad things coming, essentially, right? So I don't know. It definitely feels like there's stuff going on. There's stuff happening, and based off what the Team Rocket Grunt said, based off the Sabrina thing, and now Usain, who's actively looked into and found secrets about this world, is saying this stuff. So it's like there definitely is a lot going on here behind the scenes. I'll say that. Only time will tell what will happen to our world. I would also advise leaving this place now. With SUICUNE defeated and weakened, is struggling to maintain the domain. Oh god, is it going to crush me? Even I'm unsure of what exactly would happen if you were to still be here when the domain closes. You would probably die, I imagine. Alright, SUICUNE, let's get out of here now. Goodbye, Ame. It feels as though space is twisting and contorting dangerously. It's time to leave immediately. Ethan, this ain't the time, bro. I don't even know how you're reaching me here. Okay. We're gone. Oh. Well, I guess I can't go back in there, which makes a lot of sense. Oh my god. Bro, the pure amount of information, lore, world building, and this insane shit. I was just trying to go into Bill's granddad's house to talk to him quickly for one line of dialogue, and I just ended up in a pocket dimension learning a ton of lore about the world, legendary Pokemon, the beginning of existence, and facing down the awakened primal form of SUICUNE in our climax against Usain. What the fuck? Like, when I really sit back and think about it, what the fuck? This is next level. This is some next level shit. Oh my god. I cannot say enough how grateful I am for this. Kanto. Oh my god, Kanto. They were so right. Kanto has been so insane, bro. And I'm not even finished yet. But everything I've seen so far has been fucking crazy. And look, we just go over here. Like we saw last time, or like before this whole thing. Horton's there. We have all that next time too and everything. God, Kanto has been such a blessing, bro. But that all said, I will say, we've lost some team members, gonna have to rebuild slightly and whatever else, but it is definitely time to end this episode. And that being said, to be honest, this episode, what I've recorded as this episode, I think it's 26, right? May end up being split into two. This may be 27. You'll find out at the time, I guess, but with how long I've recorded, obviously I didn't expect all of that. That took a long time. And I do think that there's a good chance I'll have to split the episodes basically up to Usain and then make the next one all Usain, because it just took way too long and I yapped on way too long with the whole Usain thing, which I think is understandable. It was literally like a massive part of the story and some insane things, so obviously I had a lot of thoughts on it. But yeah, this may be split, so I apologize. This may end up being episode 27, but you will see at the time. But either way, this has been an amazing episode. This is like one of the best episodes ever, in my opinion. This has been truly insane. One of the saddest things is, and I think I mentioned this before, now for me, I'm probably gonna have to commit to spending a lot of time recording ZA, which I do want to play ZA as well. It just makes me a little bit sad because I'm probably not gonna get to record this game for a while, and I just experienced that. You're telling me I just experienced that, and now I have to put the game down for a while? I really don't want to, but I'm probably gonna have to, so don't worry, it won't affect any uploading, because as I am as I'm recording this right now, episode 11, which was the Jasmine episode, just went live today or yesterday, I do believe. It was scheduled, so I might be wrong, I don't know. But either way, episode 11 either just went up or is the one going up, which is Jasmine. So I am very far ahead in terms of recording. So even if I do stop for now for a while to record ZA, normal uploading of HeartGold Ultra can remain for a very long time. So that's it for now. I really do hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. This whole Usain thing as much as I did. This has been an insane experience. A literally one-of-a-kind experience. And I feel like I didn't freak out enough, but oh my god. Awakened SUICUNE was insane, bro. I wish I could use that thing. Obviously you can't. You're not meant to have outside the domain, yada yada. I get that. But oh my god, I wish I could use that thing. Or imagine if I could have Awakened Roxy, bro. You said there's a possibility of awakened normal Pokemon. What if I could get Roxy trained on the ashes and have an awakened Lantern? Imagine how sick that would be in the domain. Either way, all the fun stuff aside, it is time to wrap up this episode, whether it's 26 or 27. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you for the next time, where by the looks of it, we'll be not only rebuilding the team, but then facing Orton. So that should be a fun one. Maybe even we can fit in Brock, assuming Brock is the gym leader, in the same episode. We'll have to see how long it takes. But at the very least, next time we'll be facing Fortin. So I hope you're ready for that. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until next time.
The server had an error while processing your request. Sorry about that.